You see right now is Finn the human from Adventure Time, and this was recreated by yours truly. And basically, I just recreated him in Adobe Animate, and as you see, all of his parts are adjustable. Even this background was created. So let me lock this background layer, and I can move him around a little bit just to show you that this is not just a image, but this is something that can be animated. So, how did we get here? And I'll show you in just a second. Alright, so first thing we did was go to File, New, and with this particular file size, I just went to Standard, and we're going to keep the frame rates at about 12 frames per second, or if you want to stick with TV and movies, we can go 24 frames per second. That's fine. Alright, so now the next thing we want to do is actually find the picture that we want to base our recreated cartoon of our character from. So when searching, the first thing that I wanted to look for is an image of his head specifically, because we're going to just do the head. We're not going to do the entire body just yet. So I was looking for something that was straightforward, something where he's looking directly at the camera, and it took a while to find this image, but that's what you should be looking for. So you should be looking for a straight ahead image, because with this particular project we're going to do a head turnaround or a head spin. But anyway, so we're going to right click here, copy this image into our new file, go back to Adobe Animate, and we're just going to press Command V to paste. Now we could also right click and just paste, or paste in place, paste in center. But the problem with doing that is that you cannot do that in every Adobe program. So in Illustrator and in Photoshop, you can't just right click to paste your image. So you need to get in the habit of pressing Command V instead of right clicking to paste. So when I shrunk this down just now, I selected this tool, the free transform tool, but I also held down the shift key. If I don't hold down the shift key, this could happen, which will distort your image, which will pretty much make your it's almost like automatic failure, because when you trace from something distorted, you already messed up. So everything you do from there is wrong. So make sure that you always hold down the shift key when scaling your work. All right. So the next thing that I did was I turned this layer into my reference layer, and the way that I can do that is just double click this, name it reference or ref. We want to also take this image, and we could just go, not there, we could go to edit. No, scratch that. We're just going to do it because I wasn't 100% sure about that anyway. But what I am 100% sure is making this into a symbol. So I'm going to select this and make it into a symbol. So we're going to modify and convert to symbol. And as soon as we do that, we want to make sure it's movie clip. Press OK. And then where it says color effects, we want to change that to alpha. And notice that alpha changes your transparency. So in Illustrator and Photoshop, you will have something called opacity, and that's the same thing as alpha in Adobe Animate. So just keep that in mind if you were to switch back and forth between programs. Alright, so now that we have this, we have the transparency down on this, and we can barely see it, which is good for tracing it. we're going to lock this layer and then create a new layer, and this is the layer we're going to be working from. Now, because Finn the Human, I love that name, by the way, Finn the Human is such a simple character, I don't I don't feel like I need to use the pencil tool to draw him, and plus I want this to be as clean as possible. So I'm just going to use the line tool, and I'll show you exactly how I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to, well, before I even start, let me tell you one thing. Um, when I use the line tool to create characters or recreate characters, what I keep in mind is that for every 2 point, or for every curve, there are 2 points. So when I see this curve at the bottom, I know that there's a point here and then a point here. Now keep in mind, I want you to realize that this image of Finn the Human is not even. So if I wanted to, which I do, I would try to make mine more even for what we're doing. But anyway, once these 2 points have been created, which is this line, I can curve this down. So just keep that in mind as you watch me put this together. So I'm not even gonna uh, curve everything at first. I'm just going to draw straight lines all the way through. See that? And this is what I was talking about. Now, if I wanted to draw this circle or this oval for his face with lines, I could do that, but why would I do that when I can just use the oval tool? Now, a few things about this. Right now, my oval tool has a fill, which I don't want because I need to draw his face inside of the oval. So what I'll do is click here on my fill swatch thingy, and I will select alpha. Now I don't have a fill. And then I'm just going to create my oval and try to match it up as much as I can, which is very hard to do, which is why you don't have to do it that way. All you have to do is create the oval, and then you can adjust the shape by going to the free transform tool and moving it around. And also, let's say I have this side, everything is pretty much where I want it to be except for this side, just like what we see right now. What I could do is use this anchor point, and I'm just going to put the anchor on this side, which will allow me to drag it this way without affecting any other part of the oval. Alright, so this is pretty close, pretty solid. So at this point, I'm ready to actually draw the face. Oh yeah, one thing I want to remind you of while we're here thinking about the free transform tool. If you do not see the free transform tool, what you want to do is hold, well, you'll probably see this tool instead. So you'll hold down the toolbox, and then you'll be able to see the free transform tool there. And even if that tool is not there, and you don't even see the gradient tool or the free transform tool, what you can do is click these three dots here, and a list of all the tools that are not in the toolbox will pop up, and you'll just look for the free transform tool. Alright, so let's get back to it. So I'm going to use the oval tool again. This time I'm going to have a fill and no stroke. So I'm just going to go to my stroke swatch and select alpha. And this time I'm going to zoom in using my magnifying glass. And with the magnifying glass, notice what happened. So the box that I create with this tool will basically become what I see. So if I wanted to just see this eyeball, that's what would happen when I create the box. And you can zoom out by pressing Command minus, or if you're on a PC, Control minus or Control plus. You can zoom in and out that way as well. Alright, so let's move this. I'm pressing down the space bar and this hand will pop up, by the way, which will allow me to drag my mouse over and adjust the frame how I want it to be. Alright, so next I'm just going to grab this oval tool and create my eyes. And I've noticed that his eyes are not the exact same size, so I'm just going to follow along with that. But in some cases, you could just copy one eye and drag it over to the next eye. Alright, so now I'm going to show you this. This is about to be wrong, and I'm going to show you why. So I just grab my line tool, and if you notice, it's hard to see because it's white. So what you want to do is you can swap my stroke and fill. So I have a black fill right now and a white stroke, so I'm going to switch that so that my my stroke can be black, and then now you can see it. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here, and a simple line here for the mouth. And as far as the lines, we're pretty much done. So how did we color it and how do we get the background? I'll show you that right now. So first thing I'm going to do is get the background. So if I select my reference layer and I select new layer, right above my reference layer will pop up my background layer, and I'll just name this background. And I don't even need my reference layer anymore now that the drawing is complete. And then on this layer where I drew fin, I'm just going to call that fin. Alright, so now what I could do with my reference layer is delete it, because technically I don't need it anymore. But if I wanted to use it for colors, then I can do that. So I'm just, for the sake of not having to copy and paste again, I'm just going to drag this over. And let's zoom out. I'll drag this over, bring the alpha all the way back up to 100%, so I can use it as a reference for color. And for my background, I'll do the same thing that I would do in Illustrator or Photoshop, and just actually create a square or a rectangle to be my background. So I'm going to click on my background layer, and I'll create this shape, which was a poor choice of color because you can't see it. So now I'm just going to use my eyedropper tool, and I'm going to select my background from my reference drawing. And now my background is blue. Now let's lock this layer and the reference layer, and we're going to go to the fin layer. So now I'm just going to get my paint bucket, and I'm going to select, notice this. I'm glad this happened because this will happen to you too. Notice this paint bucket has a lock on it. When you see that, all you have to do is click this button right here where it says lock fill and just unlock it. So now I can use it again. So now that I'm in the fin layer, I want to use the eyedropper tool to select his skin color. But I can do it with the eyedropper right here, or I can just select my swatch and the eyedropper will pop up and allow me to select from anywhere on the art board or anywhere on the file, and I'll select that, and then I can paint that in there. And now I can do the same thing once more with white, and voila. So that's pretty much how you do it. So what you need to do is get your own character and see if you can do the same thing. But what we're doing this for is we're going to actually create a character turnaround, and I'll get more into that in the next video.